All right, what are we talking about? We're talking about California. California, if you haven't heard, is burning, okay? And if it's not burning, the people that are not uh, in the midst of burning up are inhaling all these ashes, okay? And it's life-threatening out there. For so many years, we thought California is going to fall off into the ocean. Well, right now, that could be the best thing that could happen to it because maybe it would put out all these fires. But you see, California is burning. Now, my question is going to be to Mike is going to be, is this a judgment or is this just because of, the weather, because Donald Trump has screwed things up according to the, politically, or is this really, could it be a judgment on California, Mike?
Well, David, of course, it's hard to say, and we at Here the Watchmen stay away from predicting anything. But having said that, I have to say, one has to wonder, because California over the last 15 or 20 years has just deteriorated into what it is today. It is a liberal mecca of the country. I just posted a picture on Facebook today of some Satanists who had a big sign at a protest that said, "Keep God out of California." And, it's just gone downhill. But what do? We can pray.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is that it very well could be a judgment upon California because look, God, if you look at the Old Testament especially, you'll see where God's patience eventually runs out, on people. So Mike and Jeannie, you guys are married. You've been married for quite some time. You lived in California. You heard God's voice. God said, "Get out." You told everybody, but not everybody agreed with you, but you left anyway, and you left your adult children behind?
Yeah.
Tell me
about it. So I started having dreams, David, in the 90s. Mike and I weren't even together. And it was very strange. I had dreams of, I was living at the time in Los Angeles. You probably know a place called Playa del Rey in LA.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I kept having a repeated dream of being on a hill in tents and everybody was in camo. And I wasn't even a devout Christian. I was kind of not a backslidden Christian, just a lukewarm Christian like most Christians are in the country. And I kept having, and it was haunting. I kept having this dream, and then I had dreams of tidal waves repeated over and over. I'm like, what is going on? And then after Mike and I got married, I had a couple dreams of invasion, and it was Russian, and then it was Chinese, and it was haunting me because I had similar dreams more than once. So I found 3 prophets, Dimitri Duduman, Henry Groover, and David Wilkerson. And it just gave me peace knowing they were having they had the same visions or dreams that I was having. And so I thought, well, I don't want to run, but if God is telling us to get out, we need to get out. And I felt really, really compelled. We really felt compelled by the Holy Spirit. And when I prayed to sell our house, and we were tied up financially for a couple reasons, when suddenly those were lifted, we just knew, and we didn't know where to go. And instantly when we sold our house, we knew where to go. It was very interesting how the Holy Spirit worked. But here's the deal. At the time, my kids are like, "Mom, you're nuts. You're nuts. What are you doing?" We stayed in California for a year after we sold our house. And, but we knew when we came to Idaho and the town that we ended up moving in, that it was home and that it was where we needed to be. But the thing is that we didn't know when judgment was coming. I was on a plane ride with a woman from FEMA. I don't know if I've I don't know if I've told this story on your show or not, but I was literally on a plane with the director of human resources for FEMA. And she told me in 2014, we had 3 years before California would become a communist state.
Wow, that was 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been.
And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't understand it at the time. And she told me a lot of other things that make sense now. But I want to stay on track here. So I did not want my kids to be in a communist state. Little did I know, I was sending them to Communist core curriculum at UC Santa Barbara and UCLA, and they were being indoctrinated anyway. And that
how old were they at that time?
In 2014, let's see, my daughter was she was 17 and my son was 20, and my son was at junior college and my daughter was a senior or a junior in high school.
So is that the year you left? What?
No, so we sold our house in 2016.
Okay.
No, 15. So I met this woman in November of 14.
Okay.
We sold our house in 15.
Okay.
We bought a house in Idaho the same, right, like literally a month after we sold our house.
Okay.
And the day that my daughter graduated, we had the moving truck en route to come pick up our stuff.
All right, let's press the pause button. Okay, so God spoke to you guys to leave. Okay, Mike, I assume he spoke. Well, God speaks to Jeannie, then Jeannie speaks to you, right? That's how it works. Okay.
Not always, but
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But okay, so God spoke to you guys. You didn't know where you were going. He just said you're going, and you guys went ahead and moved forward and obeyed God without knowing where you're going to end up. So you showed your faith, but you weren't going to leave until, doggone it, your daughter was at least out of high school, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you know she was going to go? Did you know she wasn't going to go with you guys? Did you know you were leaving without your kids?
Mm-hmm.
How did that?
We knew David, but we knew we had to set up a safe haven somewhere. I mean, I had worked feverishly to restore. You've heard my testimony, but I had to restore my relationship with my kids. Yeah. One in Arizona and one up in Santa Barbara, California.
Yeah.
And, I told them, that I was leaving California and moving to the mountains. And their response was, so you're going to be a mountain man now? You were a surfer. I mean, what are you, Dad?
Right. Yeah.
And now over time, they have seen, and their eyes have opened. So all of my kids and Jeannie's kids, they know that there's a safe haven for them. But when we sold our house, David, we used the proceeds from that to start Hear the Watchmen. I mean, we were jumping off the edge of the cliff for Jesus. There's no doubt about it. We were moving to an unknown place in the middle of the mountains of Idaho. Right. And neither one of us had ever really dealt with a mountain winter. And, we started Hear the Watchmen. And we have never been happier because the Lord blesses us on a daily basis.
I want to get into Hear the Watchmen, but I want to go back to you all leaving California. As you're leaving California and you're looking at your kids in the rearview mirror going, Mom, Dad, what are you doing? Come back. Did you have any emotions, any feelings as you're leaving?
So this was my take. Okay. Yeah. So I was a single mom for years, raising my kids. And then Mike came back into my life. He was my high school sweetheart. 3 years later, we reunited, got married. My kids were living with Mike was living with my kids, which is really hard to be a stepdad living with someone else's kids and not being able to see your own at the time. So that was a struggle. But here's the deal. When they turned 18, I guess I was raised in a family. When I turned 18, my parents were like, well, you're on your own. We'll do our best to help you with college. You're going to college. So I had this in my head, like, I'm going to get my kids to college. But they were really spoiled and babied because when you're in a divorced situation, you tend to overindulge your kids and spoil them because the other spouse you're in battle. And in my case, I was in battle constantly. And so I thought to myself, they'll be 18. They're going to go away to college anyway. They both told me, you know, they wanted to live on campus. So I'm thinking, what difference does it make if I live 3 hours away from them or live 18 hours away? I don't live with them anymore. They're in college. They, you know, I want them to grow up, and you know, that's what they wanted to do. They had a year to process it. See, it wasn't like we just said, okay, we're still in the house. Okay, we're leaving, you know, and that's why I didn't drag my daughter her senior year, because I figured that would be traumatic. But they had a year to process that we're moving.
But why? I mean, because you asked them to go. You and Mike both, because I know you both, and I know the influence that you have. Why don't they hear what you all hear? Why don't people hear sometimes when we hear from God? Why don't they hear it?
They had dreams.
David, they hear you more through your actions than they do through your words, especially when they were Jeannie's kids' age. My son was married. You know, he was in graduate school at the time, and so it was for him, it was fairly easy. My daughter was busy going to college, and then she finished college and she was going to graduate school. So they were okay. But Jeannie's kids, it was rough. And then we'd bring them up, you know, have them come up for the holidays and stuff like that. And they would think it was the frozen tundra. You know,
They think you're crazy.
Yeah, because they're Southern California kids. You know,
David, the bottom line is,
yeah,
we knew that God was telling us to go, and we knew that California was going to be a mess. Okay. So the way I looked at it, you can't tell an 18-year-old what to do. They had their dreams. I promised them that we would help them through college. And to make a long story short, because of the '08 crash, I lost their college fund. And if it hadn't been for selling our house, we wouldn't have been able to start Hear the Watchmen or help my kids with college. But they had full scholarships to the colleges that they chose. And the more I would tell them what to do, the more they'd rebel. So I just said, okay, do what you want to do. You want to go to UCLA? That's your dream. You want to go to UCSB? You guys earned it. You got scholarships. I'll help you with what isn't covered with the scholarship. You know, we'll cover you so you're 100% covered. We're going here. And I think it was kind of a shock because they saw such a drastic change in us.
Yeah.
Over the last few years. So that was hard for them. You know, we were living in the world, for the world, Orange County, mom and dad, you know, doing the Orange County thing. And then suddenly something happened to us, and it was traumatic because they knew me as a worldly person. Even though I was, quote, Christian, you know, I was in the world and of the world. Now I'm in the world and not of the world.
Yeah,
so,
they saw, like Mike said, they saw your actions more than hearing your words. I want to go into Hear the Watchmen. You guys have a great ministry. If I call this gathering a church, I would call what you all do a major conference, a Christian conference, okay? You do this 3-4 times a year. Obviously, with COVID, it's changed a little bit. But we have two great events coming up I want to talk about. One is Igniting the Fire, okay? Which I want you guys to talk about that just for a moment. And then we're going to talk about we are going back into California, all right? So tell me about Igniting the Fire.
Well, listen, Jeannie and I worked really hard to pull together Igniting the Fire. You know, Hear the Watchmen is all about gathering in fellowship face to face, but obviously we got slapped down by COVID. And we couldn't do anything, and we resisted. And finally, we both decided, man, it is time to bring a powerful message to the remnant body. And we have a wonderful list of speakers like yourself. I'm eagerly awaiting you. I know you're working on a knockdown presentation. We have Pastor Mike Spalding, Casper McLeod, Derek Gilbert, Josh Pat, Drew Graffia, Don Shimura, L.A. Marzulli, Chris Taylor, Billy Crone, Jamie Walden, Dave Dobbenmeyer, Randy Conway, and Mark Sutherland all the way from London. And, you know, it's just going to be a chance for people to be in their home and enjoy the teachings of all of you. And go ahead.
How do they, Mike, tell them how they can go right now, put up the website where they can go get their tickets?
Real simple. You've got the website up on your screen right now. Just click on the picture igniting the fire, and that will take you directly over to the ticketing portion of the website. And when you get there, just go ahead and purchase your ticket. Use the promotional code Heavener20 and save 20% off your price. And David, let's talk about the price of this for a second.
Yeah.
We brought this conference and put it out there at $39 so that everyone can access this. It's that important. And we believe that all of your viewers and followers need to be a part of this conference. You need to get on board and you need to listen and hear the teachings because of what we have coming down in just a month here in this country in November. And, you know, you can go on there, get it. You get it for 6 months for viewing. So you have plenty of time to watch all the people present. And you get the last Dallas conference thrown in for free.
Well, yeah, I want you guys to go check it out real quickly, about 30 seconds. I want to talk about California. You guys left California. Now you're going back into California. I'm going with you. What's the date of that event in California?
That's November 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Irvine Hilton, which is right across from Orange County International Airport. And we're going to go in there as bold can be. You know, Isaiah 54:17, we're reminded of that when we go to California, that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And you know what, David? We're not messing around this time. We're going to carry a big stick for Jesus. And we're going to go into Orange County and we're going to light it up.
I believe you, and that's why I'm going with you, and I'm excited about that, excited to go back and see all my friends in California. I want you guys to go to hearthewatchman.com, and I want you to really support these guys. And also, if you want to come out and see me in person, and a lot of other friends and family that are going to be speaking, great speakers, come out and join us. There's nothing like in-person fellowship.